Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Now, is Ruto's no new taxes pledge fear driven? Yeah. Now, the Finance Bill 2025, Ruto is saying that there will be no new taxes imposed on Kenyans. Of course, we all know that Finance Bill 2024 was chaotic, and we know what happened last year. So the president is saying now that the new finance bill has no new taxes. So there's some factors I think we have to check regarding this bold Ruto no new taxes 2025 finance bill 2025. One, Ruto sudden U-turn. Like, why do you think Ruto has made a sudden U-turn? One, of course, finance bill 2024 sparked historic Gen Z protests, leaving over 40 people dead. Of course, that's per BBC documentary. Over 40 people died during last year's protest after you know, the the worst finance bill 2024 that saw young people going out there, fighting the government, demanding actually that the government should do away with the Finance Bill 2024. Of course, that's why Ruto has made a U-turn. Now, 2025 bill now claims no taxes, a clear retreat. Don't think this is a retreat. And why is Ruto retreating? Yeah. One, of course, fear of repeat violence. Of course, no president would ever want whatever happened last year to Ruto to happen to them because as a president, you always fear being removed from power. So when you see the whole country, protesting against your rule, you become a worried man. It's not easy. And of course, BBC Bloodshed Parliament documentary. The Bloodshed Parliament documentary really sent shockwaves in those government. And it really showed the world what really transpired. People who actually carried out the murders, the policemen, the KDF. So the president wouldn't want, he wants to calm down people's hunger. And of course, uh, he wants to make sure that the documentary does not go beyond what it has done. Again, another thing, another point, it could be hidden tactics. Yeah? The government has ways of dealing with its people or its people. It could be hidden tactics. Of course, one, no new taxes. Ask yourself, um, that might be existing burdens on VAT and levies. Of course, there are those taxes that were there, yeah, and of course, the government will not remove them. Of course, there are no new taxes, but of course, there were taxes that were still existing, and of course, well, the taxes that were making Kenyans' lives harder. So the taxes are still there. So it is not, uh, it's not a relief to Kenyans. And again, um, the debt trap will continue. So, of course, Kenya's 1.1 trillion shillings debt deficit still demands revenue. Kenya in Africa is number one, I think, in debt, and this debt has to be paid. The country needs revenue. So, what does new taxes mean? If the country won't impose new taxes on Kenyans, it means that the debt crisis will continue. In Kenya itakuwa nchi ya madeni. And that's the reality. Kenya itakuwa nchi ya madeni. Another thing, the government there might be possible stealth taxes, tax za wizi. Serikali inaweza kuja na tax za wizi yenye hautajua. For example, uh, you might watch for reduced exemptions, yeah, new fees disguised as reforms. There will be new fees. Remember, even the Finance Bill 2024, after the chaotic, after the chaos, Ruto said that he was retreating and he did away with the finance bill. But again, I remember very well, the prices of some commodities were still hiking. Like unga ilipanda bei, and of course other things ilipanda bei. It means that the government was still imposing tax on Kenyans, even though it was not announcing to Kenyans. That's the reality. So another point I think that of course is making the government to behave this way, in this desperate manner, is Gen Z's next move. Right now, trust is gone. That's the reality. Trust is gone. And protesters now fact check every clause. Um, the government might be fearing mobilization threat. Even one controversial tax could trigger total shutdown in Kenya. Right now, even one tax that was not there, if the government imposed one tax on Kenyans, that might trigger shutdown. And the people, Kenya, the young people, might go the street. So that's why the government is so careful. It doesn't want to impose new taxes on Kenyans. And now, Ruto, of course, as a president, the worst fear you always have is you being re-elected or you being impeached. Not actually about the people of Kenya, because he's there because he wants to be in power, and he's there because he wants to be re-elected. That's all. Doesn't care whether people are suffering or people are enjoying life. He's there for himself. So Ruto's big goal. He wants to avoid 24 chaos before the next elections. You didn't want any chaos, any to happen before the next elections because it will affect his next re-election bid. That's the point. That's why he's so careful with this finance bill. So now, as you have seen, finance bill 2025 will be somehow easier Kenyans as compared to Finance Bill 2024 that of course saw the young people go to the streets, demonstrate, and of course, unfortunately, it led to bloodshed, and some people will never be seen again. Some people died, yeah, and of course, I pray to their families to to give them peace wherever they are, because it's not easy to lose your son, your daughter from the bullets. Thank you, of course, and tell me what do you think about this issue. Do you think Finance Bill 2025 will be nice to Kenyans? And do you think it will make work life easier to Kenyans? Thank you.